Hey guys, I went to France and this is what happened. Can you tell? After 40 hours of travel, I finally made it to France. My family and I headed up to Normandy to go see Mont Saint-Michel. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It was this beautiful cathedral on top of a mountain, and I'm just amazed at how they built it. And I thought it was so funny how they had so many signs being like, caution, a lot of steps. Don't attempt to come here if you can't walk up steps. And it was like the equivalent of an 8-story building, but at that point I'd been sitting for like 40 hours, so I was like, I'm ready to move. Let's take this on. And so I made it to the top. Honestly, it was like crisp and chilly. The air here is so much nicer than in Florida. Like, yeah, there's more pollution, but there's no humidity. I was so thankful to not have humidity for a whole week. It was just so cool to like learn how they built this like way back then. Like, I can't even comprehend how they did that. But yeah, the building was cool. The architecture was amazing, but what really captured my heart was it was seagull breeding season, and there were so many little baby seagulls like nesting in the little crevices of the cathedral. It was so cute. And they had signs everywhere being like, caution, don't get close to the seagulls. The moms will attack you. And they had pictures of people like getting their hair ripped out by seagulls. I kept my distance, but I definitely was fawning over the little babies because they were just so cute. I got here a day too late to see some rocks that I guess my dad and my brother were obsessed with. I guess they went to see something called the Karnak stones, which is like French Stonehenge. My mom and I just kept making fun of them the whole trip because every time we'd see a rock, we'd be like, oh, your dad would love this. He bought a book and he was like, here, in the car ride to Paris, read up about the Karnak stones. And I was like, okay. And I was flipping through the book and it was literally just pictures of rocks. And I looked at my mom and she was like, yep. And he made her go to it twice. I just thought that was funny. I missed the stones. Oh well. I really do love like archaeology and stuff like that, but I don't know. I can go without the stones. So after Mont Saint-Michel, I guess my brother like hitchhiked or something to meet up with us in Rennes. And the guy he was hitchhiking with was like, oh, you need to go to Saint Malo. It's so cutesy. And he was like, okay. So we went there and it was so funny. Like, I feel bad for him because I would also be crashing out, but I witnessed my dad crashing out trying to find parking in Saint Malo because like I would cry if I had to do that. I could not parallel park. There was just no parking anywhere. Like, it was crazy. There were like 7 parking lots we drove past that all just said no parking. But we finally found parking. There was a pirate ship, which was giving me Gasparilla flashbacks. If you're from Tampa, you know, never again. I had my first French culinary experience because literally I had not eaten in like 40 hours. I had airplane food, and then the night I got to Rennes, I got myself a croissant, which I feel like doesn't count because everything was closed. So I got myself a galette, which is the regional food of the Bretagne province. It was good. It honestly, like, I might get stoned if a French person hears me say this, but it just kind of tasted like a crepe with like mushrooms and cheese on it. But it was really good. My brother got fish soup though, and like my mom knew that wouldn't be enough for him, so she kept like making all of us like give him food and he was just throwing it in the soup. So it was just like a weird never-ending pot of fish adjacent items in a fish-based soup. My last note about Saint Malo is my dad and I recently went to Universal and we just kept looking at each other and we'd be like, this looks exactly like the Harry Potter world in Universal. And I know, I'm ashamed for thinking that. That's such like stupid American type of thing to say, but it really did. Like, they got it right at Universal. Okay, you can shoot me now. It's okay. I just had to get it out there. On Monday, we left Rennes to head for Paris. Honestly, I'm just gonna say this, I had the opposite of Paris depression. Going in, I had no expectations. I just knew, like, the internet's general vibe of Paris was that French people aren't that nice. But honestly, I loved it. I was amazed at all the architecture. Like, everywhere I looked, I just wanted to, like, stop and take a picture because, like, everything is just so beautiful. And everyone was really nice, actually. Like, if I needed help, like, I'd ask someone and they'd be more than happy to help me. So I don't really know what that stereotype is about, but I had a great time. We had to figure out how to use the metro, and honestly, that's like my favorite part of visiting any new city, is trying to figure out the public transportation there. And it might just be the, like, undiagnosed neurodivergency in me or whatever, but I love trains. Like, why can't we all have trains? It's just not fair. I love it. It's so efficient. I hate driving cars. I think we should all have trains. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but I just had to say that the metro was so much fun to ride. We happened to be staying, like, right next to this cathedral, and I was just exploring because, like, we just got there. So my mom and I were walking around and we saw the big cathedral and we were like, oh, that's pretty. Throughout this trip, I climbed up the, like, 500 steps to get to the cathedral 4 different times because I went up by myself, I went with my mom, then my dad wanted to see, and then we all went together. It was a lot. I became an expert at finding this cathedral without a map. Because, by the way, this whole time I didn't have data. I was just going off of vibes. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But to find the cathedral, I had that locked down. So after we explored the area a bit, my parents and I went on a ghost tour, and it was really interesting. I mean, I knew Paris was gonna have a bunch of ghost stories just because it's ancient, but I did not know a lot of it. Like, apparently the butcher who makes people into meat pies, that story came from Paris. At one point, all of the graves overflowed into the open air market and the street just, like, smelled disgusting for days, so that was interesting. The best part, though, was I saw the Paris rats. I felt like I was meeting a celebrity. I saw Ratatouille. There was just, like, an area where all the rats were going back and forth, and they were so big. Living in Gainesville, I don't really see rats. These rats were, like, this big. Like, they were, like, the size of a cat. It was crazy. They were kind of cute, though. I like them. Tuesday. I'm ashamed to admit this, but my mom and I were those tourists who took the big red bus tour. It's shameful, but I have to be honest, like, it's a very efficient way to see the city, so don't blame me. Please don't think I'm less cool for that. It's okay. I lost a bit of aura points for going on the red bus, but it was fun. It's a good way to just see all the landmarks, because some things, like, I don't need to go in. Like, I don't need to go to the top of the Arc de Triomphe, but I'd like to see it. I do have to add a side note in here. I have recently gotten into birding, and going to Europe unlocked a whole new world of bird options for me. Anytime I would see a regular bird, I'd just search it up on Merlin, the bird app, and it would be like, oh, it's a Eurasian pigeon, not a normal pigeon, so I could add it. I have so many new birds now. I feel like I'm not helping the case of the stupid American allegations, but I did get slut-shamed at Notre Dame. I'm joking, obviously. And this was completely my fault. Silly me, I did not think that you had to cover your shoulders there. So I got pulled out of line and they were like, hey, you need to buy a scarf. And I had to go across the street to buy the overpriced scarves that they sold next to Notre Dame. But honestly, if you walk just like a block away from Notre Dame, the price drops by like 50% because they know everyone's going to their shop to get the slut shaming scarf. But don't worry, I got you. Go to the one a block away because it's like so much cheaper. But I got my scarf. I got to go to Notre Dame. I didn't really understand people who like got goosebumps when they walk into somewhere that's just beautiful, but I got that seeing Notre Dame. And it's crazy that it was burnt down like a year ago and now it's just back up. How did they do that so fast? But it was so beautiful. I loved it. On with the rest of the tour. Okay, my last note about the Big Red Bus tour is horse statues. My mom went to Paris 4 years ago with my dad, and she just remembered that there was this overlook that you could get a really good view of the Eiffel Tower from above. And I was like, okay, great. I like pictures, let's go find it. We spent an hour trying to find this overlook. She was like, I swear it was by a horse statue. Little did we know, chances are if there's a statue in Paris, it's gonna be of a guy on a horse. I did not think this far ahead. There were like 5 statues of a guy on a horse in our vicinity, so we were looking at the wrong horse statues. It was the horse statue that was down the street the whole time. But we found it, it was beautiful. It was a very pretty view. It's Wednesday. On Wednesday, it was time for the Louvre. I got dressed up in my cutesy bow and my nice outfit. Weirdly enough, I didn't realize this until we were sitting down, but we ate at a frog-themed restaurant, which I love frogs, so this was great. We had crepes, it was very cutesy, and we had a bunch of frogs looking over us. Also, before the Louvre, this is the second time I went up to the cathedral on the top of the mountain, but we went to the Louvre, and I think maybe they like to test your endurance when you go to the Louvre because they make you line up in this giant pavilion, which makes sense because it's open. It's a big space, but it's the middle of the day, it's blazing heat outside, and like you're just sweating. I saw children like ducking behind their parents trying to sit in their shade. We were boiling out there, so I think they really like to torture you a bit before you get into the Louvre to really make you appreciate the little bit of air conditioning they give you in the Louvre. I'm kidding. But it was very hot. But we finally got into the Louvre. It was just so cool seeing all these old paintings that famous painters like actually touched. It's crazy how we just get to see that. My mom is braver than a Marine for going to a museum with me because I'm the type of person that wants to see everything in a museum and like I won't relax until we see everything. Yeah, it was 4 hours of frantically scurrying back and forth trying to see everything. The saga of finding the 4th floor almost broke me that day. I saw that there was a 4th floor and I was like, oh, well, we did all the other floors, so naturally let's go see the 4th floor. So my mom and I were looking on the map, and the Louvre is set up where some stairs only go down, some of them only go up, and I think we spent like 30 minutes trying to find the stairs to go up to the 4th floor. And we asked 3 different docents, and we're like, hey, how do we get up there? And they're like, oh, it's this way. Oh, it's this way. They kept pointing us in every which way. And finally we were like, okay, are we dumb? Are we going crazy? Are we being pranked? And my mom was like, we need to ask an American. And I was like, Mom, this seems a bit problematic. You don't trust the French people? And she was like, we need an American. I was like, okay. And she somehow found an American tour guide. And she was like, hey, how do we get there? And the lady was like, oh, you're on the like completely wrong side of the building. The 4th floor stairs are way over there. And she was like, but also the 4th floor is closed today, so I don't even know why they told you to look for it. And we're like, oh, okay. So then we left after that. But we saw all the beautiful paintings. The Greek artifacts were really cool. It was just very big and overwhelming. So my mom and I were so exhausted by the end of the day. We walked another 30,000 steps and we got off the metro at our stop and there was a sign that said, caution, 144 steps to get up in this like spiral staircase that just goes on and on and on. And I was like, hey Mom, are you sure you want to do this? You seem a bit tired. And she was like, let's just go. And then we got up to it and she was like, why was that so many steps? And I was like, I told you. And she was like, I didn't hear you. And I felt bad for her, but it was a lot of steps. And then behind us were these other tourists who had like their giant luggage bags, and I don't think they read the sign either. And they were struggling. It's Thursday. So today I ventured out on my own to the Musée d'Orsay. I hope I'm saying that right, to see some Impressionist art. And I love this museum. I think it was my favorite activity to do here. It was in an old train station, which just warmed my little train-loving heart. So it was really cool and a good time. I just love Impressionist art because I think it's more rewarding to see Impressionist art in person because there's so much texture. It like changes how it looks depending on where you're standing. So it was just really cool to see like some old Monet paintings, some Van Goghs. When I was here, I met a celebrity. Red Poppies painting by Monet. This has been hanging in my bedroom for the last 4 years, and it was amazing to get to see it in person. It felt like I was meeting a celebrity who I've had a picture of them hanging on my wall for years. So overall, very good time at the museum, and it was a lot of fun. After the museum, I had a bit of time to kill before I had to go on my tour to the catacombs. I saw that they had the Grimace shake here, and I just had to. I'd never had it when it was in America. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. So I got un petit Grimace shake. It tasted like berries, which I was not expecting. But then it was off to the catacombs. It was really cool. Like, it's incomprehensible how many bones are down there, and it just felt like, I don't know, very reverent, if that's the right word. It was also a bit spooky because my dad was watching As Above, So Below the night before, and I was kind of alone in the catacombs because most people went in a group and I was just there. So I was like going at my own pace and no one was around me, so it was kind of spooky. It was just a very cool experience, and I just think it's crazy how many bones there actually are down there because they make the walls out of all the femurs, which is crazy because like that's so many people because we only have 2 femurs. They didn't even use the other parts in what I saw at least. It was very cool. I'm very lucky I got to see it. On the way home, the metro did break down and it was during rush hour, so it was very hot, very stifling. That will not stifle my joy of trains in the metro, but it is a notable thing that happened. I went back to our hotel. We had a little goodbye dinner. I wanted to try steak frite because according to my dad, it's the national dish. I never verified that, so please don't make fun of me. It was really good. I love like the sauces they use here, and the fries were really good. And then it was time to go to bed because I had a very, very early morning. I caught the first metro of the day and went to the airport, and it's time to say goodbye to Paris. I had a really fun time. Like, I was not expecting to enjoy it this much. It was a lot of fun. I loved the food, I loved the people, and the different places we saw. I'm very grateful that I got to stay in my parents' hotel room. Oh, I didn't mention this, but I was sleeping on a blanket on the floor next to their bed because this was like a work trip for my dad, so I just tagged along. When I got back home, back in the good US of A, there was a raccoon in my backyard, which I had to add in here. Isn't he cute? Thank you all for joining me on this very long, very expansive video of my trip to Paris, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!